Since our singing voices didn't make it to Nashville,
we figured we would use our voices in a completely different way.
we're two friends hanging out, sharing about our businesses.
Our journeys to motherhood, things we love, and making time to do life
Together. This is
two chicks and a glass. Hey y'all.
Hey y'all. I'm Angela Robertson and I'm one half of Two Chicks and a Glass.
And I'm Lashonda, and I am the other half of Two Chicks and a Glass.
We're back.
Yes, we are. We are back. It has been quite a while, a little minute, but we're back. It's okay.
Life happens.
Life does happen, and that's why we have wine.
Absolutely. Let's just jump on into that.
It gets us through all the stuff.
It does. Let's start off. I'll tell you what I'm drinking, and then I want to hear about your glass. All right, so I picked this up today from our convenience store around the corner, and it is called Three Finger Jack. I've never tried it before. It's Three Finger Jack, I guess is the brand or the type of it, and it's Eastside Ridge Cabernet Sauvignon from Lodi, California. That's where the grapes are. And I'm really excited to taste this like right here for you for the first time. It is, let's see.
The bottle looks like it was maybe aged in like a whiskey barrel of some sort.
I think so. Yeah, it's talking about Jack during the gold rush and search for riches. Blah blah. Yeah, it's saying, I don't know. Not sure. It doesn't say it on the back, but it does talk about him. That this would be great with a grilled flank steak. And then it is really aged. So it didn't say anything about like a whiskey barrel, but I feel that it could be just because of the Three Finger Jack.
Yeah.
So go to threefingerjack.com if y'all are watching this part. Check this out and let us know in the comments if it was
Sounds good. Let's see what it tastes like.
It's dark and ooh, it would go great with steak. It does. It tastes really good to me. It's got a lot of flavor. It's a little rough around the edges, but I really like it. So that's what I'm drinking tonight.
Well, I might have to try that one since it's a little rough around the edges.
Yeah.
So what I am having a red also. And as you can see, I've been drinking on it. This is, and I don't know if you can see it with my lighting, but it is a Pinot Noir from Landon Winery, made in the Texas High Plains. I actually got it from a winery in Grapevine, Texas, when Manny Manuel went there. And we liked it, so we ended up buying a case of different ones. They were doing like a special on, like if we bought 6, it was going to be the same price as 12. So we ended up getting a case, and that Pinot Noir is one that was in there. But it's also, it's a light, I'll say a soft red. It is, I've had it already, so I can tell you what it tastes like. But it has medium tannins, it's medium body, and it is medium acidic too, like not a lot of acidity in it, but it goes good with steak. It goes, well, meats, red meats, and cheeses. I like it. It's fruity. You can taste the berries on the front end. You get some oak on it also. So I like this one a lot. It's one of my favorites from the case that we got.
Well, perfect. Well, with our wines tonight, y'all, I'm wearing Peanut Butter Cup on my lips. It's a very beautiful nude lip, and it's a matte enduring lip color. It's going to stay on your lip for like 4 to 6 hours. And it's a really pretty color for everybody. I love how velvety smooth it is. And you can notice on my glass, there's no lip marks. So that makes these enduring lip colors with wine tasting fabulous.
There you go. So, Angie, what are we talking about today?
Today, we are going to talk about communication. We are going to talk about, really digging into understanding how to effectively communicate with each other. I think
Yeah,
that probably sums it up, right?
I think it definitely sums it up. We're going to be kind of getting down to the nitty gritty about what good communication, bad communication, just being a little bit more available to communicate with those people around you, those people you love. I think we all struggle with that sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to dive into being able to address how to address these things, I guess I should say.
Right. So I guess one of the biggest things to jump into is right now, and I'm still going to talk about the pandemic because you know what? People may be tired of hearing about it, but that stuff is still rubbing over into this year. It just really is.
It was real. Like
It's
it was a
real.
real life
Yeah,
pandemic. It'll affect people
exactly.
for months on end.
And I think that what it's done is it's really identified, at least for me in my life, and I know Lashonda, um, some breakdowns in communication, with not just ourselves, with other people, and from the outside looking in. I feel like there's a lot of like if I go to social media, y'all know I'm on social media, but I try to not scroll a lot, but if I do catch something and I'm like, oh no, they didn't bring it to Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Like family drama, and what it all boils down to, or friend drama, or whatever, is communication. Like it takes two people to communicate,
It does. And you can't run to Facebook. You can't run to social media like every time to post everything that you're feeling or all of the hurtful things. And you hadn't even communicated with the person that it's about, like subliminal and passive aggressive posts.
Mm-hmm.
They don't make communication later any easier, because if you love that person and you care about that person, you eventually want to fix that. And so
Right.
taking something to Facebook, which should be a conversation between you and that person, is only making matters worse.
Right. I do want to add too is there's a difference between because if you look at my posts, like I'll talk about everything. Like I'll talk about my life, my family, like my experiences. I do share a lot of personal things on social media. But then there's also like different stances that I have. And sometimes like a person could find offense to that. And in a lot of things that I post, anybody could potentially
Yeah.
find offense to that. And I think that's to everybody. So I think the major difference is whenever you're feeling some type of way and you are like saying like that per everything but their name, you just told that whole situation and you're in that situation right then, versus maybe you look back on a situation and you're like, I learned a lesson and I don't agree with this. That's a little bit different in communication and in your posting and being responsible about what you're putting out there versus you just being messy. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're going through it right now and you're indirectly talking about that person, like that's I need to pick up the phone and call you, or I need to sit down over coffee or tea or whatever and have a conversation with you. And I 100% agree. Like I share things on Facebook too. One, anything that I share that I feel like is going to be a little bit more personal, I always make sure my husband is aware. Like, hey, I'm about to post this. Are you okay with that? Especially if it affects both of us. And so that's one form of communication. And then
Mm-hmm.
two, like you said, like if I post something about a lesson learned, or this is how I'm feeling, and I'm working through it. If I'm not indirectly talking about a person, it's my emotions, my experiences, my feelings, that's very different. That's very different. But you know, if you're indirectly talking about somebody, and you know if you need to pick up the phone and call them.
Exactly. And I'll share this. Like this is one of the things that I'm being transparent about with me and Lashonda. Like, if there's ever anything going on, she knows. Cause I'm like, Shonda.
She definitely lets me know.
I'm that side-eyed friend, like, you know, the one that you probably don't even really like. You like, can I deal with this today? I
Yeah.
don't.
And we literally just had a conversation about that. And one of the things that you said was, you know, I will tell you, or I will let you know because I'm your friend. Like,
Yeah.
there are people who will, you know, take those shots at you or be messy and shady and hurtful and not say anything. They're just like, oh, Lashonda did this, Lashonda did that, you know, instead of just coming to me and saying, hey, that hurt me. Hey, I'm not sure how I feel about that. I don't think it was cool, or whatever the case may be, whatever it is that you need to communicate about. Like you, I agree with that. I agree that what happens between two people doesn't have to be, um, we don't have to make it somebody else's issue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I
And be
feel the
nasty
same.
about it.
Yes, I feel the same way too. It's like, because we can all learn and grow from each other. You know, we can all say, and if you're friends and that is your friend, if you are, I mean, family, and sometimes you can be family and not be friends.
That is
So,
true.
you know, if you say that you love that person and that person has been there for you, like genuinely been there for you, like whenever we're in situations, like we just have to stop and think, like, wait, okay, analyze it, like, have I even gone to this person? How am I feeling? You know, and what makes me feel this way? And then maybe it's, you know, talking to a trusted person. Like, I know, Lashonda, you talk to your husband. I talk to my husband. I go to him and I'm like, okay, am I being crazy about this? Like, tell me how you feel about what I'm saying to you.
Right.
You know, and then, you know, if that does have something to do with another party and you're just not sure, then you go to that trusted friend that, you know, that is able to tell you who you are. Like, and sadly, you know, a lot of people may not have that person, but I feel that genuinely deep down inside, we all have at least one person that we can tell, you know, this is how I'm feeling right now. This is it. You know, sometimes we just may not want to hear what that person has to say.
Right.
So, you know, it kind of goes back to, do you really want to grow? And if we're all alive right now, we should be growing. Otherwise,
Yeah.
we're all dying, and nobody wants to just die.
And
Um,
sometimes hearing the truth hurts. Like
oh, yeah.
like, and even if you need a minute to like to receive that feedback that somebody's given you, and you later go back and say, I heard you and I received that and you're right, um that's okay, because
Right.
it sometimes it's hard to hear those things, but you have to know when it's coming from a trusted source. You have to know when it's coming from someone that's looking out for you and
Right.
only wants the best for you. I saw something the other day when you, and it crossed my mind when you were talking about, like, you can have family that is, you know, not your friend, or you can have horrible communication with family. And I saw a post, and I think I shared it on Instagram, but it was someone saying that it's very toxic to be in, to have a family member, or to say that you can treat me badly or you can talk to me badly, just because you're family. It's like it's not okay to allow someone to treat you however they want to treat you, um, just because they're family. It's very toxic, and that's not okay. And that's not a healthy mentality, to be able to not communicate with someone who is hurtful in their communication style. And even if you try to work it out. So I thought that was very I thought it was like mind blowing, because you hear so many people say, of course, where we're from, oh, that's your family, oh, that's your cousin, or that's your sister, or that's your, you know what I mean? Like they say that all the time, like you have to forgive them. And you can forgive somebody and you can love them, but you don't have to allow that in your space.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think that kind of just goes back to like two people are in every single relationship. It's you
Mm-hmm.
and that other person. And with that, like whether it be family, not family, like we all dictate how we are treated in some way or another. We either say, I allow this to continue to happen, or I have a problem with it and I want to talk to you about it and I want us to be able to work it out, you
Right.
know? So there's things like that happen all the time. And I think that really going back to the like pandemic and like communication breakdowns, is that we got to just start being more upfront with people.
We have to be more upfront with people, because and it always comes back down to unrealistic expectations. And I think that a lot of us had that during this pandemic. Like we expected people to reach out to us, we expected people to check in on us, but there's two sides to every story. Or that person could be feeling, the exact same way that you're feeling, or experiencing something totally different from what you're experiencing, but it's equally as hurtful or painful or whatever. It's a struggle for them too. And so we have these unrealistic expectations of that people are just supposed to just be there all, when we need them, but they don't know what you're going through. You're not verbalizing what you're going through. You're just personalizing that they're not calling you or they're not doing these things. And it 9 times out of 10, it has nothing to do with you. It's nothing that you should be personalizing. So, people, when there's a breakdown in communication, or when there are hurtful things being said, it's usually coming from a place of hurt, a place of pain, and as you said, or a place of lack of understanding.
Hmm. Yeah. And like to kind of piggyback off of that, like I want to share, like for me, I've been very vocal about starting to deal with like postpartum anxiety. I feel that I've like grown through this process, but at the same time, it's, I explain just saying what you have isn't necessarily enough.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be able to explain it. And then if you're not able to explain it, also just know that the other person that hears what you're going through, again, may not understand it. And like Lashonda said, like they may have to take some time to process, but just through that process, know that relationships don't have to continue to stay broken. That there's always a little bit of action that each party can do. So, for me personally, like the anxiety was like, I can't be around people, like people freak me out. I'm so terrified. Um, where my method of communication was really just through like messaging. Well, that may not be how people receive messaging, and then starting to have a busier life where like it's like messaging isn't even an option for me anymore, or it takes more time. Then you have to be able to understand like whatever it is that you're going through, and I'm using myself as this example. Whatever you're going through, you have to first give yourself grace and understand that like you're allowed to have seasons in your life where everybody around you may or may not understand. And, it's also up to you to eventually go back to those relationships and say, you know what, I realized that, I was in a point there where I could not really explain how I was feeling. Can I try to explain again? So sometimes like it just depends on the relationship that you're in. And I feel like we've had a podcast similar to this, but um just communication is so important,
Yeah. I
and
think I think it's also very important to remember that, and this is falling in line with what you just said. I think it's very important to also understand that if somebody loves you enough, if somebody is vulnerable enough to come to you and tell you, this is how I'm feeling terrified, or I'm feeling hurt, or I'm feeling left out, or I'm feeling whatever. Like, it's not your place to say, no, you don't. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be okay with accepting that that's how they feel. You
Right.
may not agree with it. You may not understand it. You may not know how to help them work through it, but you have to accept that that's how they feel, because that's their feeling.
Right.
And they're being vulnerable with you. And so you don't want to slam the door in their face because you're not open-minded enough to understand that this is not necessarily something I did.
Mhm.
What it is something that they're feeling.
Right. Right. And it's something that they are going through,
Yeah.
that like everybody is going through their own stuff.
Yeah.
So,
And we
yeah.
can't personalize that.
Yes. I
Yeah.
think that's good. Yeah. I hope y'all got some value from this, man. I feel like
I,
it's some good.
I feel like it was good too. I feel like we started out with communication. We went into some other areas that are also equally as helpful. But at the end of the day, what we want you to understand is that, you know, talk to the people around you. If you know that there is, um, if you're harboring something, if somebody has done something that hurts you, like, the way to fix that is communication. And communication is not just talking. That's like, talking is the least important part of communication.
Mhm.
Listening is the main part of communication. And so I want to make sure you get that too. So when I say go into, you know, a conversation with somebody to talk about where the breakdown is, or what the hurt is, or what that is, like, hear what they're saying, listen to what they're saying, and be open to understanding and accepting that they feel like you may have hurt them. You may
Mhm.
not feel that, but their perception and the way they perceived it was hurtful.
Boom. Right
And that's
there.
okay.
That's it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And if you're not in a position where you're able to receive it at that point, that's okay too. To
Yeah.
say, I can't receive it right now. Like, I'm just, I can't.
I can't receive it.
I
Give
just
me some
can't.
time. You know,
Yeah.
I may need to process this. There are some people that have to step away and process, have to sit down and self talk and write it down, or journal, or go to that special person like we talked about and just be like, babe, am I being crazy?
Yeah.
Like, help me understand. And Emmanuel will tell me, like, well, I can see how they were offended by that, or I can see how that came off as negative, you know. And so you need somebody that's going to be honest with you. And I won't lie, sometimes Emmanuel tells me stuff like that and it hurts my heart. Like, I almost get mad at him, but
It's
because it's
hard.
hard to receive that when you don't
Yeah.
feel like you did it, when you don't feel like you did anything wrong. But somebody who doesn't even, as the old people say, have a dog in the fight can tell
Hmm.
you, from where I'm sitting, it looks like you could have hurt them. It looks like they could have been hurt by something that was done that you didn't intend to do, but you did it. So I think that's important to just take that with you. It's not always easy to accept that, you know, something that we have done may cause hurt to somebody else, unintentionally or intentionally. Um, but when we hear it, the goal is to make it right.
That's it. And that's the perfect ending to this podcast.
That's the perfect ending to this podcast.
All right, Lashonda. So, do you want to share what is going on? Like, how?
Well, I have some rebranding going on. I have started and stopped and started and stopped and lost my mojo and gained my mojo back and all of these other things. So I'm rebranding, and my plan is to launch what L. Hollins Speaks has become on August 1st. So be on the lookout for that. You can always go to my website, lhollinspeaks.com. You'll see a little snippet of what I have going on now because I'm building that website to reflect everything that's to come. So if you want to get a sneak peek, you can go there. But I'm rebranding right now. I've got major things in store. Don't want to give anything away right now, but just stay tuned. I'm excited about it.
That's awesome.
What about you? What do you have going on, girl?
Well, for me, my life right now, honestly, this month, like it's July, and I'm so like trying to get to my roots. I'm still doing my Lime Life business. I absolutely love that. It's something that I'm able to do, and I'm very passionate about it. So I love that. If you're in the market for skincare and makeup, I'm the girl. Hit me up. Also, if you are in need of a business like full time, part time, extra income, side hustle, message me. You can do that through my social media. It's Angela Robertson. You can find me there, Life with A Robertson. Also, I'm doing these new hair care products, y'all. I got a new brand with Boasted Gall, and I've been loving that. Like we just launched, like he has sent me a lot of the hair tools to try out, and like I'm in love with them. It's safe for your hair and it's very effective. So just doing some new projects and learning more about myself and being accepting of where I am now as my journey through postpartum has had, ups and downs. But I'm primarily focusing on, building my business and accepting who I am right now through this transition.
Well, there you go, girl.
Good. So
Here's to growing and accepting where we are right now. That is major.
cheers.
Cheers.
Ding.
Ding. So I think that's all we have. If you all can hit like, hit subscribe wherever you're listening, that would be amazing. Angela and I are hoping to continue doing this once a month now. As we said, life happens. So we've gone from weekly to every 2 weeks to once a month, but we are determined and being intentional to come back here and one, hang out with each other, and two, be able to share helpful tips and information with y'all. So like, subscribe so that you're notified whenever we do a new podcast. Okay.
Sounds
Bye,
good.
y'all.
Bye,
Thanks.
y'all.